just one more moment, finalizing a few things on the background. And we'll start very, very soon. Also, because I know this is typically the #1 question, the recording is going to be shared along with the deck. So you're going to get the deck and the presentation right after the event is done. And you're going to get the recording of the session on your email tomorrow. So keep that in mind. And I think we are good to start. All right, so again, welcome. My name is Elisa, here with the LearnWhat's team. And today's session is
join thousands of creators, entrepreneurs.
Sorry, hold on, turn that off. So today's session is going to be about visualize to educate. So essentially, how can we create visual content with AI? An extremely interesting topic. So let me introduce to you the main speaker of the day, and that is no other than Mark Bradley. So Mark has been with LearnWhat's for over 2 years. He's a highly skilled creative director with years and years of experience. So Mark, if you want to, feel free to say hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you much for joining.
And now just a few things about LearnWhat's just before we start, and especially for some of you guys that are new here or that haven't seen LearnWhat's before. So LearnWhat's is an all-in-one platform for you to deliver or even sell your courses. It is the most flexible AI-powered e-learning platform with its very own integrated AI assistant. So we have more than 10,000 users really in all over the world, and we serve somewhere around 20 million end learners. And you heard that right. So make sure you take a look at LearnWhat's if you haven't yet. And I think we can go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. So Mark, if you wish.
Hi, so welcome everybody. Good evening, afternoon, morning, night. So I just wanted to quickly review what we will be doing today before we start. It's been a month, more or less, since we did the first AI content session as part of the world of learnings, and a lot of things have changed in a month even. So we're going to review where we were and what's changed. Then I wanted to show you examples of prompting with technical vocabulary, so you can get images and videos with technical questions and easy ways to empower yourself, hacks to find the technical vocabulary online very easily. Then Elisa will be doing a demo showing how you can populate a course page with some of the assets that we've created. Then the second kind of demo on prompting is with stylistic vocabulary, which is slightly different and is preferred by some models, AI models, and others not so much. And then Elisa is going to show you how to take those assets we're creating and create an ebook for your learners, and even an email too. Then we're going to quickly wrap up, and depending on the time that we have left, we can do a Q&A. So going forward, just as an icebreaker, I just wanted to kind of point out that through my career, I've seen, like, this is the third major shift really in technology and how it's affected education and creating content for educators. So the first was in the 80s when I was graduating from university and popular, personal computers became popular. And what happened then, it democratized people creating educational content. They could create it themselves. They didn't need to go to a printers. They could do it all at school, at work, or at home. Then in the 2000s, so 20 years later, really the widespread internet, the adoption, the widespread adoption of the internet happened. So all of a sudden, all that educational content you were creating digitally could be distributed over, tremendous distances, and the kind of conclusion of that, almost the end of that, really exciting platforms like LearnWorlds came about, where people could create interactive learning sites on the internet. So now the 2020s have happened, and we still don't know whether we're going to be the person pointing at AI or we're going to be the cat with AI pointing at us. But today, as we stand, it's an incredibly valuable tool that educators can use to create content with quality that you would really need a design studio for, a photographer, or the quality of output that you can create is incredible. So I still see it as a tool to be leveraged by humanity's creativity, and I think we'll hopefully see some of that today. This is again another kind of a month has passed since the last prompting framework I gave you, and I've been working with one of our instructional designers, Panayota at LearnWorlds, to define some segments of a prompt. Now, there's 11 steps here. You can kind of go multi-choice with them depending on the sophistication of the prompt you want to do, but some are very important, some less so. So I've always thought it was very good to define, and the models seem to really respond to this, defining the expertise of the role. So act as a photographer, graphic designer. Tell it what you want to do. I want to create a photograph. Define the subject in detail. So if you want a full body female figure doing exercises on a mat, that's what you should ask for. Describe the background as well, important. Then there's the stylistic component, which you can ask it to mimic a style or an artist, or you can skip really to and obviously put in step 6 indicate the color, texture, mood, and motions of the person you want to render in this case. But then if you don't want to do a style or an artistic style, and we're going to be talking about this, you should do step 7 and set up camera details. So the type of lens you want to use, the aperture ratio, the frame speed, the shutter speed, sorry. And I'll show you, even though you don't have to be a pro photographer to be able to get that, and I can show that. And then all the others really are optional, but you can specify the audience if you want to get granular. So if it's for children or professionals, provide additional input data. So you can, up to some of the models, you can upload files, either images to copy or images to video or a URL. You can set the output format, and we'll talk a little bit about that when I get into the examples. Being able to use what you get out. So if you want to create a logo and you want to output it as a vector-based file to be able to use it in Illustrator and in Figma, it's very valuable to tell the AI what you want, and then obviously making variations is important too. Ooh, going backwards. So, because in last webinar we did, lots of people were asking what models do we use. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. So for today's we're using Claude, which is a general AI text to answer. Firefly, which is image manipulation. It's also embedded in Photoshop. After you've got the image back, you can use it in Photoshop. ChatGPT-4, which is a good general use, and it also produces imagery or artifacts. Midjourney is text to image. Grok 2, which was launched 2 weeks ago, which is the XAI AI model that's embedded in X, also does general use and text to image, and it's been remarkable how quickly they've caught up ChatGPT, and we can go into that. And then Luma Labs, which is text or image to video, and we'll be showing examples of that. Some of these are paid, some of these are free, some of these you can try for free, some of these you can't. So and then I've tried to include icons throughout the presentation to show which image was produced by what. So let's do a quick recap of July's webinar. Remember, we created, the people that joined we created a website for dog training. And we talked about logo creation. So here the prompt is along the top. And what I found was entering a style had a profound effect on the output. So whether you wanted to do a style like Bauhaus or an artist like Paul Rand, who is a famous American graphic designer, it produced, this is ChatGPT, produced a wide range of different options for to use, which you could then ask for it to produce either a raster image like a JPEG or a PNG or a vectorial based image. We asked for some colors as well for a vintage website in this example, and it produced colors and hex codes. We asked it to produce hex codes, which are, the code for colors. We asked for some font recommendations, some pairing a serif and a sans serif, and it gave us four serifs. And on image creation, very similar to the logo, style, in this case, these are all created in ChatGPT for 0. Style played a huge amount of, had a big impact on the prompt. So it was a dog walking in Central Park, and depending on the style you chose, we got all these amazing images. And we put it all together and showed you how to build a school for a canine masterclass. Using, in this case, it was we used a style similar to a National Geographic photographer, and we put it all together. And if you go to this link and register, you'll be able to watch this prior show on demand. So taking that into consideration, we're going to do 2 different prompting methods today, of which Elisa, as I said, will do a demo for each. So the first one, we're prompting with technical vocabulary, and in this case we're simulating images and videos for a mindfulness school called 360 Mindfulness. And for the second, where we'll be using stylistic vocabulary to prompt images, we're going to be doing could be a travel agent that wants to sell city guides on their site. So a city guide per course, and Elisa here will be showing you how to put an ebook together with my AI generated images, but also the content she can start producing with the AI assistant we have embedded in the LearnWells platform. So we'll start with the mindfulness school here. And I just did a little mock-up to show you what it could look like. So this is building a kind of a rapid design system with AI. So I started with the logo, and I used ChatGPT, and I asked it to act as a graphic designer and produce a logo for a mindfulness school. I wanted flowers in it because I thought 360 mindfulness was, circular, and flowers are generally circular. And I wanted to output it as a kind of a bohemian style, and I got this. And then I exported it as an SGV file so I could manipulate it in Illustrator or any other program that accepts vector-based imagery. Now, this isn't, and to be honest, this takes about 25 different regenerations of the prompt. So you just run it over and over again with the same prompt until you generate something that you find interesting. You don't get it first time. You might get it, the 4th time or the 25th time. but it's the trick here is don't give up, keep going, and you'll find something that you really like. The font, I asked XAI in X to give me a font that was readily available in Google Fonts that I could use in a website, and it gave me suggested not to display. The colors, I asked it to suggest 5 colors for a mindfulness school, and I wanted them expressed as hex, and I did this in Claude, and it gave me a list of colors. And then imagery, I asked, in this case, Midjourney to create an image with a woman doing a breathing exercise. And you can see the type of camera lens that I was using was quite technical, and I'll get onto that in a little bit and show you how to improve your professional camera knowledge. So based on those images I was requesting from Midjourney, which model is the best? Well, I think it really depends. I don't think anyone is going to be able to run. It's a bit crazy to have 6 different models running different requests. But imagery, sincerely, Midjourney is still the king. ChatGPT does a great job, but this is the 2 results from the same prompt. So I asked for a kind of a motion blur background, depth of field with the lens, and the Midjourney is so much more sophisticated, including the 2. I really tried to push it because AI struggles with hands and complex objects like forks and things. So it was pretty convincing, and the quality is extremely good. Now, bear in mind that Midjourney can't do half the things that ChatGPT-4 does. And one interesting thing is, last weekend, Midjourney is now available through its own website. Before you had to do a kind of a convoluted thing in Discord, but now you just go straight there, and it's €8 or $8 a month for 200 prompts a month, which is a huge amount of prompts because you get four results for each prompt. So I thought, that's amazing quality for a pretty reasonable price. So going back to this technical prompt, so I know what I like in photography. I know the difference between motion blur and depth of field, but I couldn't look at an image and describe what type of technical specifications I need in a camera to do that. But thanks to the internet, if you go to sites or you use sites such as Unsplash and Flickr, and you find a photo effect that you like, almost all of them, I know that Flickr and Unsplash definitely has, they have the metadata details. So if you open the photograph, the low res comp, before you download it, and you go to the this kind of area here beneath, it tells you what lens was used, what type of camera, the output size. That's not that important, but so you can start. There's not really much difference between telling it that you've used a Fuji or a Canon, but the lens is important. The aperture diameter is important, and the shutter speed, obviously. So these are some general ones I produce for you. I mean, there's literally, go online. You can there's various ways to do this. I think metadata is really interesting, but also if you find an AI image that's been used, you may find the results as well in the prompt. But I thought this was a more kind of guaranteeable exercise. So there's a prompt, there's a description for portrait, sharp background, motion blur. But look online, you'll find more. And then once you've got a nice prompt set up with a technical lens that you really like, giving an effect, then all you have to do really to produce multiple images for your school or your academy or your training site is just to give the description. So, and then so very rapidly you can produce an enormous amount of unbelievably high quality imagery. Arguably some are better than photography. And this is just an example. All of these were produced in Midjourney. And this is kind of like a detail. It's getting to the point where I'm not going to use stock houses for our own imagery anymore. I'm just going to get all our designers to prompt and
This
produce.
one's so impressive too. Like it looks like an actual photo, especially the one to the left. The detail is crazy.
Yeah, they struggle. I mean, this one's done a really good job because he hasn't, the guy's got 4 fingers and a thumb. Sometimes they,
Yeah.
complex things they really struggle, but it's getting so good.
Yeah.
And the fantastic depth of field, so the background's blurred, he's highlighted, the lighting's really good. And then maybe you want to, if it's a mindfulness school, what I thought would be good was to show you taking the images I created in Midjourney and putting it through Luma Labs, and just by giving it a little video prompt, you turn that breathing image into a breathing video. And this is free, but you get a watermark and everything. You can, if you subscribe, you get longer videos. But remember, the XAI example I showed you, that's Grok 2 in X. You get it free if you're a premium member, which again is like $8 a month, €8 8 or €9 a month. Grok 3, which is coming out in October, will have video, text to video in it, and they've partnered with a company called Flux, which is as good as Midjourney, and as good as Midjourney in its image creation, and as good as Luma Labs in its video creation. So going forward, Grok 3 will be an incredibly powerful tool. And then for anybody that wants to train on a product, Midjourney is very good at if you put a particular product name, and it's very good at rendering an image. If this is obviously going to take some time and improve, but if you're using your school to train on a particular, I don't know, servicing a particular type of watch, you can, or a camera or whatever, or an X-ray machine, you can visualize that X-ray machine as a still, and then you can do kind of walk rounds. And this is just a silly car I rendered in Grok, and then rendered a walk. The prompt was create a walk around video, and it kind of did it with all the shadows and highlighting in the car and everything. So it was quite amazing. And again, very, very quick to create unbelievable content value, or production values. So that's the end of the first bit. I'm going to hand you over now to Elisa. So Elisa, I will stop sharing now.
Yeah. Thank you. I think what we've seen so far is so impressive, especially I feel like with the videos, just what you can do is crazy. All right, so I think now my turn is to show you guys a little demo. So essentially, how can we apply and use all of the things that Mark showed that he's generated, whether it being, let me actually share, whether it being the logo or the images that he did. So hopefully you can see my screen here. So Mark generated a logo, the fonts, the color palette, and even images. So how can we use all of these to create that website? Let's say the mindfulness that he mentioned. So how can we do all of that? Let's take a look. And of course, I'm going to show you this through the LearnWorlds platform. And somebody actually asked, I think in the chat, if we have a ready-made template of a website and where they can do it. They can do it through LearnWorlds. So I'll show you what I've done here. So this is a website that we've created, 360 Mindfulness, and we used the logo that Mark generated. So the way to do that, we just clicked on Edit. Let me show you that right away. So in here, for instance, at the top, we added a logo very easily from here. We just picked the image that Mark generated. Then Same we did with the fonts. Same we did with the images. So you'll see that you can add image folders wherever you want and just select the image that you want. That's what we did over here. We did the exact same thing with a color palette that Mark generated. So for instance, right here, if you were to go and check out the background of this page, you would see right here, you can pick any color that you want, but obviously we wanted to make it true to the content that Mark generated. So you'll see that we added the exact color shade or one of the color shades that you would see over here. So this is one way of doing things. You can use your images, your logos, you can use the fonts, the color palette, but what else can you do with AI in LearnWorlds here? So let me show you a few more things. Now, besides adding all of these lovely things that we generated with external tools, LearnWorlds also has its very own integrated AI assistant. So that can help you tremendously into your website, and especially when it comes to text, because yes, we can generate the images and all of that, but regarding the actual content, the text, and the message we want to convey, how can that help us in that matter? So right here, we have a little description about mindfulness. So discover the power of mindfulness in this transformative course, blah, 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 blah. So let's see, what options do I have with AI regarding this text, or really any text inside a page? So I'll show you right here. All you need to do is just select on the text that you want to apply AI on, and then head over to these little stars right here. And these are the options that you'll see for the text right here. So what you can do is that you can polish the text. You can ask for it to rewrite it. If you don't like the way it's written, it can completely rewrite it for you. It can make it more catchy. It can make it more surprising, more serious, or it could shorten it. It could expand it if you want like a larger text. Summarize if you have a rather large text and you just want the gist. It can analyze the style, the tone of voice, so that perhaps you can use that later on. You can change that, and you can even translate it in another language. Which shall we pick? Let me go for polish, perhaps. So, of course, according to the length of your text, it's going to take a moment or two to do that, and it's going to come up with an output for you. So right here, you see what it came up with, discover the power of mindfulness, blah, blah. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, just to spare you the text here, but you'll see that you have a few options. So if you're pleased with this, that's great. You can insert this. And then further edit it if you want to. You can ask for it to regenerate again if you don't like it, expand, shorten, and you can even improve the results here. Just directly type in a prompt. You can also do that if you want to. But I feel like the gist here is that you do not necessarily need to have prompting knowledge with the AI assistant, because we've translated all of those variables and things that you would otherwise say into a written prompt into things and checkboxes and things that you can do. So I'm going to insert this and show you just how easy it does. You see that it adds it right here, just so that you have both options to kind of compare which one you want to keep and which one you want to discard, right? So again, this you can do essentially in any of the tags that you'll find across your website in LearnWorlds. So this was the first school. This was the mindfulness one. We're going to see another one where we discuss traveling and traveling guides. And you'll see that Mark also generated some of the images for that. So let me show you how that image would look like, and how and what I did, how that page, sorry, would look like. So here we have another website where we have a travel site, world cities. We have a few cities that we're wanting our learners or our readers to visit, and we have guides for each one of these. So what I did in here, and you'll see that for me, I actually did that with ChatGPT, and I think someone asked that in the chat as well, whether you can do that with ChatGPT too. Yes, you can. So what I did is I just fed these images of these 4 cities, and I requested that it generates a color palette for my website based off of these images. And you'll see it came up with quite a few. I didn't like that, so I requested that it only picks 5 of those colors that harmoniously complement each other. And you'll see that with AI in general, it's not just one and done. You don't have to just write in one prompt and then just stick with it, right? You can actually interact. It's more like a conversation. So if you don't like the output or what it produces, you can always go back and ask it to improve it. And you'll see that actually in the beginning, you'll see that I also asked for the colors to be expressed in hex codes, so I can use that later. And you see that the hex codes over here were kind of overlapping. I didn't like that at all. So I requested that it fixes that, and it did. You see that it showed them like this, which, well, it's great for me because now I can use it. All right, so essentially what I did after that is I took this lovely color palette and I applied that into my site over here. I'm not going to show you because it's the same process as the mindfulness school, but you see that I used the lovely images that Mark generated. The color palette is the same as the one that was extracted from ChatGPT. And again, of course, if I had made a logo or fonts, I would be able to also change and tweak all of these to match my generated result from AI. And same with text over here. You could, of course, use AI on any of these texts to help you polish, regenerate, and so on. So I think that's the first part of the demo. Go back to the presentation, and then we're going to see some more stuff in the second part of the demonstration. So Mark, if you want to reshare the presentation. Okay, I think you are on mute, so we can't hear you right now. Feel free to turn that on.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. So the second part of my little discussion is talking about using styles for image generation. And I thought this is one way of doing it. So it's a travel school selling courses. Each course is for a major city. I thought, how could we represent that? So why don't we just for explaining to you guys the power of the difference that the stylistic generation can do. I thought that wouldn't it be cool to render each city as a painting by one of the famous artists from that particular country. So in New York, this was a prompt. This was going through XAI. Another thing that I want to talk about a little bit is Midjourney and XAI, Grok on X, don't really have any filters. They don't. You can do whatever you want. You're not in ChatGPT. If you ask it to produce in a particular artist style, it will say that, we have a policy, blah, 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 copyright, which is nonsense because the copyright period has ended. But they won't let you output images in the style of artists, whereas Midjourney and XAI will. So that's another thing to bear in mind. There's less kind of, quote unquote political correctness in XAI and Midjourney. So here I approached the five different cities with five different artists. So I acted as a graphic designer and created an image of for a travel guide website. The image should display the enter city name, and the image should be enter style. So Edward Hopper, iconic pictures of paintings of people going around their everyday lives in New York. Jean Miro, who is a Spanish artist. Turner, a very famous artist in England, produced beautiful landscape paintings with kind of a tinted blur to them. For Paris, Toulouse-Lautrec, who is kind of almost like a graphic designer, graphic artist, and then Amsterdam, Vermeer, I thought would be appropriate, and they produced some astonishing pictures. So taking the New York example, you've kind of got the prompt set up again, and then you can just go through your travel guide, picking out the things that you want to send people to, and paint them as in the style of Edward Hopper. So everything kind of looks the same. So I've got the Guggenheim Museum, Broadway, Statue of Liberty. I'm not sure it's quite so close to the Broadwalk there, but we'll give it a bit of artistic license, and Central Park. And you can ask it for different times of the day, and it will provide those for you. So again, just did the same thing, pushing everything through Luma Labs. This was a picture of London by Turner, and you can actually get it to, even though it's a painting, you can you may want to produce a video to go in your ebook or your guide or your landing page or your course page, and here we can do it. I mean, it's not animating everything, and the guy gets a bit confused and turns around, but amazing quality of image and video. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is something that basing images are really easy, but I've started trying to push it with limited success. And so if you had an ebook and you wanted to produce diagrams with relevant information, really struggles. This is where humans are definitely more intelligent than artificial intelligence. It can't, if you ask it for walking directions from New York, say like the Met to Strawberry Fields inside Central Park, really struggles and will produce garbage. In the same way, the best day to visit the Guggenheim Museum, ask it to do that, it won't be able to do it. Or give directions to the oldest deli in New York, won't be able to do it. So the way I've kind of worked, the workaround I've got is, first of all, you ask it a text-to-text question to get the information that you need. So in this case, it was approximately nearly just over a kilometer or under a mile. And the walking time was 15 minutes from the Met to Strawberry Fields. So then you ask it for an image with that information. So show the actor's graphic designer, produce a contemporary infographic in this case, but you can associate any style you want, showing the Met and Strawberry Fields in the background and the words 0.8 miles and 15 minutes walking time at the front. And this was the best that I got, which isn't great. So obviously it's going to get better. But at the moment, this kind of asking it to do a complex image with imagery, locations. I mean, ChatGPT just flat refused to come up with any kind of maps at all. It said it wasn't in line with its policies at all. And I had to go to Google Images and Google Maps and make a screenshot. But I mean, it's there, it does it, but there's tons of mistakes in it. They misspell the words, repeat words. The maps aren't that great, but it'll get better. So that's something that we should all kind of play around with. And as the models get more intelligent, we'll be able to produce contemporary, relevant information for your educational course or your ebook or whatever you want, explaining data in simple ways. But at the moment, it's not super. But by Christmas it might be super.
I mean, AI is still young. I think for sure we're going to see improvements really fast.
So here we've got the second demo, which is putting those elements into an ebook. So I'll turn you back over to Elisa.
Yep. So let me share my screen once more. Give me just a sec to make sure I have the right screen on. All right. Okay, so how do we now translate all of that into an ebook? And if you're interested in course creation, you know that ebook is one of the most popular learning activities. It's up there with videos, I would say. So how can we create an ebook with AI? So what we've done here, and I'll show you the process as well, is that we created the text exclusively with AI, with the integrated AI assistant, and then we just added the images that Mark generated earlier, and of course we matched the color palettes and all of that. So let me show you live how we can create something like this, very similar. So right here we have a course, a traveling course, and this is a guide for New York City, for instance. So I'm switching my screen over here. And what I need is an ebook. So I've added the activity, and I'm going to go ahead and click on edit so I could show you what you can do. Give it a second to load that. It's a tad slower for me right now just because I'm on the live session as well. So you see that the Learnals platform offers a few options for your ebook. So the first one is to do it manually if you want to from scratch, or you could upload your ebook if you already have it in a Microsoft Word file. You can do that, but you can also do it with the integrated AI assistant, which is very impressive. So let's go ahead with that and take a look at the options. So you see that there's so many options regarding your ebook. You can go from simple text or articles to stories, Q&As, journals. You can simplify concepts. I don't know, create a song or jokes or an emoji story. The list goes on and on. So I would definitely suggest that you play around with this and you see the potential. So I'm just going to start with a simple text because I want to create an article. So what is this? It tells you that the text concerns learning about I would say visiting New York City. So I'm going to make it to that. You see right here, you can specify the type of the text. It could be an article, a chapter, so the list goes on and on. I'm going to go for an article. You can specify a role. So is this going to be an introductory, or I would say just a full chapter? You can create this text based on something else, based on a paragraph that you have, another resource, or even an existing learning activity within your course. So many things. I think I'm going to circle this around the landmarks that we saw from the images that Mark generated. So let's say, make sure you mention these landmarks: Statue of Liberty, the museum, Center Park, Broadway, and so on. So you can add anything that you want in here. You can create a list of resources. You can describe your audience. So I would say first-time visitors, for instance, so that it can accommodate the output based on my audience. And then I can even specify my tone of voice. And there's a ton of options over here: attention grabbing, friendly, enthusiastic. Let's go for enthusiastic. And now click to generate. So give it a second to do just that. Again, according to how much content it's creating, it may need a couple of moments, so bear with me while it's doing that. So here we have the output. Welcome to New York City. You have a nice little intro, and then we have the landmarks that we requested, right? So again, if we don't like this, we can regenerate, improve, and all of these options that we saw earlier. I'm just going to insert because I want to show you a few other things as well. So I'm just going to wait for it to insert it. And since this is an integrated AI assistant, it adds this content straight into your learning activity, straight into your Learnwell's course. So this is how it looks like. Again, it's not one and done. You can go back, you can select any part of these texts, go back to AI and make changes. Besides that, you can manually add other texts, change that. You can do the same for the color palettes. Like for instance, let me find the one I used earlier. Let's say I want my background to be with this color palette. So I'm going to just copy this hex code for that color and go over to my ebook over here. I'm going to go over to my background. Hold on, right here, just to change that as well to make it kind of match my palette. See how easy that is. I'm just pasting that over there, and you see that instantly the background is going to change. Now, besides that, I can go in here and I could add the images that Mark generated. So perhaps I want to add a general image from New York over here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to add an image widget. Let's go for this. And I'm going to select my image. I think I have it somewhere in the library. So let me find it over here in the course library. So I want to add this general Hopper styled image of New York. So there you go. And now we have the landmarks that we requested. So the Statue of Liberty, the museum, and so on. And you could follow the same process over here. So I can add more images. Hold on, it's right here. And just fill that in with the images that I generated for each one of the landmarks. Which one was this? The Statue of Liberty. Hold on, let me locate it. I have it somewhere here. There you go. So same would go for the museum, the Central Park. I think you get the gist. I don't think there's a need to go on about this. But of course, so like I said, the colors, you can completely generate all the text. You can generate more if you want to. You can add the images that you did with AI. Of course, for the text, you can also specify things such as the fonts, the font family as well. All of that to kind of like match the visual they have in your head. So this is with the ebook. Again, I think we came quite close, if not better, with the initial result that we wanted to achieve. And I think I want to show you something else about AI besides the ebook. So let me also switch my screen one more time. So the integrated AI assistant doesn't only help you in creating the content for your course when it comes to the page or the activities, but it also helps you in communicating with your learners, with your students, or with your audience, whoever that be. Now, the main way of communication is typically email. LearnWells has a mass email feature, of course, and the AI assistant is also integrated in the email too. So let me show you what we've done over here. So let's say that, I have a brand new guide for visiting New York, and I want to communicate that with my audience. We generated a banner. We did that with AI. So I simply added it over here as a logo with the image. And then for the main body of my text, of course, I could just go in manually and generate the email and create it. But you guessed it right. You can also do that with AI. Now, notice how there are also variables that you can use, right? So this is going to be kind of like custom for each of the users. It's going to say their name and so on. So let me show you how you can create that with AI. So you can go over here, and yes, you have the typical options that we saw earlier to polish the text, rewrite, and all of that. But we specifically created some templates for you as well. So if you want to generate just a generic school announcement or a course update or just a live session, right? You can definitely do that from here. Let's say right here that you want to do an update, right? We have a new city guide, for instance. And, we just want to announce that. You can set the goal of the email, write it over there, or make sure that it includes specific key topics. Again, you can set the tone of voice, and you can even add a call to action in here. So it's really impressive what you can do. And of course, I'm not going to generate it now just so that I'm a little faster with the demo. But this is also generated from AI. So you can read through this. We are excited to introduce you to our new guide, Visit New York, whether you're planning a trip to the Big Apple or just dreaming about it, blah, blah, blah. So this is exclusively generated by AI. But like I said, you can go back in and, make changes and just edit that or proofread it as well, which is definitely also recommended every time. So yeah, I think just a little wrap up on the integrated AI assistant. So what we saw so far is that you can use it into your pages, the courses page, to either incorporate all the other content that you created from other AI tools, or you can use the integrated AI assistant to directly help you with your text, or to help you in creating your ebooks from a whole chapter to a whole article to the titles and the actual content. You see that it even used emojis in the ebook. And of course, it doesn't stop there. You can use it on emails, and the list goes on and on. The assistant can also help you in creating your assessments, in grading it in terms of providing feedback. So many more options for the integrated AI assistant here at LearnWhat's. And I think that's stuff for me for this part of the presentation. Let's go back into the slides now. And I think we're almost ready to wrap up.
Okay, so just to discuss what we talked about, we reviewed the July's webinar where I kind of dealt with prompting for a school using mostly ChatGPT 4.0. We then looked at prompt, and that's obviously available for you to go and watch on demand, as this will be from tomorrow. Technical vocabulary, so use my recommendation is to use metadata to get really good camera effects and lens and specifications, and that works incredibly good in Midjourney, as we saw. Then we looked at stylistic vocabulary. Remember that only some of the models let you talk about artists specifically. If not, you have to kind of do a workaround and ask, you couldn't ask for Monet at ChatGPT, but you could ask for French Impressionism. Then we did 2 demos. And again, we'll be hopefully doing some more of this, because the space is moving so quickly in the 4 weeks that since I've last talked to you. I've learned quite a lot about there's new functionality coming out all the time, and then just to keep up to date, it's that we have lots of articles on AI prompting, how you should use it, where demos. So we call it 360 support on LearnWells, and you've got blog articles, daily webinars that have live support where you can go if you have a doubt about anything, even AI. We have a vetted expert area where we partner with Fiverr and Upwork. If you need any help setting up your school, resources for your schools, we have lots of templates, ebooks. Course Masters is a great area just generally in the e-learning space, where we have some quite well-known people in the e-learning environment talking about their particular subject. So go check it out. It's freely available. We keep it updated every week. There's new articles coming out, so make the most of it, because it's an excellent resource. And I think we have, Elisa, like some time to.
Yeah, we can spare like 5 or 6 minutes. There are a few questions for the end. Okay, let me go through one. I can answer that, and then Mark, I'll read through the other ones, so feel free to answer any of those. So someone is asking regarding the feedback that I mentioned earlier. So the LearnWell's integrated AI assistant can help you in creating, like, let's say, an exam or a test or an assignment, but it can also help you in offering feedback. So there's a lot of times where you may create an open-ended assignment, and what AI can do is that it can read through the user's answer and it can produce a feedback based off of that. But that feedback is not just any generic feedback. You still have like variables and things you can tweak to make the feedback as you want it to. So you can select whether you want it to be extensive, whether you want to be strict or not. So I'm not going to show you now because that would take some time for me to locate an exam and an assignment to show you, but it definitely can do that for you, and it's extremely helpful because we know that a lot of times open-ended questions do take time to grade and especially offer feedback. So that's how that one can help you with that. Mark, if you want me to, I can read one question for you that I have here in front of me. So I am wondering whether you can use a photo as a basis and ask to modify it. So for instance, to keep the physics of a person or of our team in the result. So this is a question.
Yes, you can. And interestingly, very good question.
Yeah.
Even basic Photoshop commands are at risk now, because you can ask, you can upload the image, you can ask it to make variations of that image on prompts as well, but you can also ask it to do like the basic stuff you do with Photoshop. You can upscale an image, you can enhance any of the simple key features like exposure. You can remove backgrounds as well. It doesn't produce an image, but it sends you a link, and then you can download the link from OpenAI server. I haven't tested it with Midjourney. I haven't tested it with Grok, but I have done with Chat GDP 4.0, and it does a reasonable job. And it's just going to get better and better. So,
you know what? My LinkedIn image, I think, is a little stale, so I may or may not try this. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can use one of those artistic styles. So if you see my picture looking like a Hopper image, mind your business, AI help there. Okay, so let me go through another question. So for ChatGPT 4, do you use chat only or another app within it to build? Also, can I ask it to give you a file in EPS? I think I can answer that too. And I think, as you saw from the demo, ChatGPT can produce other things. So it's not only for chat. I think in the paid version though, so if you're doing the free version, it's mostly chat, but if you have like a paid version, you can request other things. You can request tables, text, images, yes. Now, specifically for EPS files, to be honest, I haven't tried. I don't know if you have an input on this, Mark, but you can try, like you can do the input and then just towards the end of your prompt, just ask it to generate an EPS file, but I don't think I've tried this specifically.
no, I haven't.
Yeah.
And the other part of the question is within Chat GDP 4.0. If you're just doing imagery, you can go to the DALL-E engine within that, and that's just like Midjourney. It's just specifically text to image. And then once you've set up your own you know, if you've become a prompting master and you've got a fantastic series of prompts, you can spin up your own GPT with those specific prompts. So it's just answering it. You just have a two or three variables to put in, and then the majority of the prompt is within the customized GPT. So that's another thing that I haven't. I've tried a couple of my own with varying degrees of success, but it is something that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another thing
Yeah.
in sorry in I forgot to mention this, but if you're just writing copy, because Grok 2 is it basically its training set is Twitter. It has its copywriting ability is incredible, and it also has a fun setting too that you can turn on to get away from like a serious answer, and you can tell it what type of fun, but you can be, you know, ironic or sarcastic or whatever kind of tone you want, and it'll bring back the best copywriting that I've seen so far. So
Mm-hmm. Okay, just a couple more questions. So is it possible to create coloring pages using photos in AI? Absolutely. I feel like this is just easy peasy for it. Just ask it to create a coloring book. It can do it black and white so that, you know, you can print it afterwards and you can color it. So yeah, I think that's quite easy. The other one, is it possible to create videos with at least two people speaking out our given text? I will say from experience, yes. We are also currently experimenting and I'm trying Synthesia. And yes, it can even offer AI avatars, so people who are talking and they can transfer your script, your text into speech. So absolutely. And even those tools are still growing. And I think, Mark, question for you. Someone is specifically asking your opinion for Adobe Firefly, if you'd like to give an input on that.
for Firefly,
Yeah.
Firefly's good when it's linked to Illustrator and Photoshop. I found it's it's good for doing typographical imagery. So if you wanted to have like a hero, you know, like you were having a sale on a bundle of courses that you wanted to show, and you wanted to um, do 25% and express it as heart for Valentine offer. It does those kind of things really, really well. It's not as good as Midjourney for imagery, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. I don't know if you want to take on another question. I think we are a minute over our time. It's up to you.
Don't
I
mind.
think maybe just in the final one.
Yep.
So someone's asking, is AI accurate enough to produce images for topics such as anatomy and physiology? I think the answer is quite obvious, but Mark, feel free to.
Don't know.
No, for me, I would think that ultimately for topics like that, the answer would be no, because you saw that sometimes it still kind of struggles with details, like simple details, such as, for instance, your fingers or things like that. But, you know, always, I would say just always check the output, whether or not it's correct, whether it's text or images. So definitely we do know the actual answer, but, you know, I would say.
I've heard, I mean, this is just, you know, I've heard that the current state of AI is it can answer questions as a recently graduated PhD student level of understanding in whatever subject area. And in 2 years, we're going to have the beginnings of superintelligence, which will be able to answer complex things. So in 2 years, it will be able to answer like the combined knowledge of the best 50 doctors in the world.
Oh.
It's a kind of level of where we are at the moment. So it's still going. But as Lisa said, yeah, check, please.
Yeah, especially with images, it's still an ongoing process. Okay, so I think that's all for us for today. So Mark, thank you very much
Oh,
for
thank you,
joining us.
everybody. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for attending. It was fun putting together the deck.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely think we hope that you liked this. You found it insightful. Again, this has been recorded. You're gonna get the recording tomorrow on your email, and the deck, the presentation, you're gonna get on your email today as well. So keep that in mind. So thank you for joining, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Goodbye.
Also, sorry, something last. If you want to check out LearnWorlds, we offer a 30-day free trial, so feel free to check that out and see how the AI assistant works inside the platform as well. So, bye-bye.